Sports Minutes with raushan.
Man United, you've got to win every game, and if you don't, it's a disaster. It's as simple as that. It's difficult to see Man United not doing so well. It's even worse when you see the biggest rivals, Liverpool, doing so well.
Money FM 89.3. It's time for Sports Minutes with me, raushan. Now, in the years gone by, I've had the privilege of speaking to some of football's finest. Jose Mourinho, Jurgen Klopp, Dwight York, Ray Parlour and Patrick Berger. All household names to us Premier League fans, but today's guest is going to turn it up just a notch, because if I consider all the Premier League titles those guests have won, this man has won much more. That man is none other than Ryan Giggs. Ryan, a huge welcome to Singapore and Sports Minutes. What brings you to the Lion City?
I've been here this weekend. I arrived Friday, so it was on Saturday, football fiesta with BYD, raising money and awareness for Singapore breast cancer. Everyone's done an amazing job, and we've managed to raise a lot of money, which is obviously for an amazing cause. So it's been a very enjoyable and successful visit.
Yeah, a wonderful initiative by BYD, and you talk about the numbers that are raised. Amazing what they're doing for such a good cause. Amidst all of that, you found time to sit down with Sports Minutes, and we're grateful. As I mentioned, he's got 13 Premier League titles, so I've got 13 questions for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, yeah.
All right, first one. Unfortunately, I have to start with Manchester United, our beloved Manchester United. We all knew it would sink quite low after Sir Alex Ferguson left. But did we expect it to sink as low as it has?
No, probably not. I think Sir Alex's last season won the Premier League. Now, what is it, 10, 11 years on? Not even looked like winning the Premier League. So, yeah, it's been a difficult... I'm a Man United supporter myself. It's been a difficult time for us. Tried multiple managers, different players, and it's not quite worked.
Yeah, it has been difficult, but now there's a new man at the helm, Ruben Amorim. Results are not really coming by for him, but have you seen enough in terms of what you see on the pitch in terms of performances, as well as the way he conducts himself outside the pitch, to suggest that he is the right one to try and resurrect Manchester United?
Well, I think he came with a great pedigree. Obviously, having done so well at Sporting in Portugal, I think he's got a really good personality. He comes across really well in his interviews. On the pitch, he would have probably, it's been well documented, liked to have come in the summer when he could bring his own players in, work with the guys at pre-season. And it's always difficult coming in the middle of a season. So the results haven't been probably what he's wanted. The problem is with Man United, he's obviously got one eye on the long term, but with Man United you have to look after the short term as well, which isn't quite happening at the moment. But I think we have to give him time, let him bring his own players in and see where we go from there.
You talk about short-term, long-term. In a short while, I'll ask you about those short-term targets. But first, let's talk tactics. With Ruben Amorim, he's come out, he's put himself on a hill. He said, I'm going to play my formation and my tactics. You've been in that Manchester United hot seat before. Would you have done it a bit differently in terms of tactical flexibility?
Yeah, I mean, he's nailed his beliefs really to the mast and doesn't look like he's going to change. He believes in his philosophy, which can also obviously be a strength. He just simply hasn't got them players to apply that philosophy at the moment. So, like I say, he needs a summer where he can bring his own players in, pre-season, work with those players, both in training and in the pre-season games. And we have to give him time. We can't just give him 6 months and then change another manager with another philosophy, another group of players, change again. Somewhere along the way we have to take the hurt. No matter how hard it is, which it is hard at the moment, you always want a new manager coming in, just improve. And it's not quite happened at the moment, but I think the United fans have got to believe in Ruben Amorim and wait until he gets his own players in.
Yeah, absolutely right. No point going down that rinse and repeat cycle again. We talk about long-term, getting that pre-season. Before that, though, in the remainder of this season, what are we judging Ruben on? Would it be performances, points, possibly a couple of trophies in the cups, or giving kids a run?
Well, Man United, you've got to win every game. And if you don't, it's a disaster. It's as simple as that. And, there's very few clubs in the world where that is the scenario. Manchester United is one of them. So I think, just like Ten Hag did, he won the FA Cup. If you can win a trophy, that gives you a little bit of time. Not a lot of time, but it does give you a bit of time. So obviously we're still in Europe and we're still in the FA Cup. So one of them trophies will definitely help Ruben Amorim in the short term. And then, like I just touched on, getting his own players in, having time to work with those players, and then he has to be improving in the league, because I think every Man United manager is judged by now, after what Sir Alex did, how you do in the Premier League.
And you talk about United always standing for winning trophies, right? Another thing United stands for is obviously bringing the kids in. You were that kid a long time ago. We've seen Ruben put a lot of kids on the bench. We saw a couple come on against Everton as well. Is that important, bringing the new breed through, especially because getting players is not going to be all that easy?
No, and at the moment there's lots of injuries. So, yeah, I think that's when you do, as a young player, you're looking purely from a selfish point of view. That player's injured and I play in that position. And at United, you do get a chance as a young player. I got given that chance. I had that little bit of luck where Lee Sharp was injured, which was obviously bad for Sharpie, but good for me. I came in and took my chance. And that's what you need to do as a young player. When you get given that chance at Man United, you have to take it.
And good for us as well, because we got Ryan Giggs, 13 Premier League titles later. Let's talk about the kids. Rafa Varane in a recent interview said, at United, they almost throw the kids in the deep end. You talked about your time breaking through in that team, right? Does that old age still hold true? If you're good enough, if you're good enough, you're young enough?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, without having, I'm not in the club like I used to be, so you don't know the ins and outs. And if you're good enough, then it doesn't matter what age you are. You've seen that over the years, not only at Man United, but at different clubs as well. And it's up to that particular player to make sure that he's playing well in the youth team, playing well in the reserve team, and he's ready to take his chance, because it could come at any time.
Good enough. You're old enough, that's what I meant. Sorry, a bit starstruck. I hope you don't mind. Let's talk about the kids, right? When they come through, talent is one thing, opportunity is one thing, but leadership is needed. Somebody needs to put their hand around the shoulder of the young kid and tell them, this is how it is, this is what it means to play for Manchester United. Do you think that's lacking in the dressing room now? Yeah,
again, without being in the dressing room, without being there every day, it's hard to tell, but all I can talk from is my experience, and that was definitely the case. I do talk about, a young player coming in and taking your chance. That's the easy bit. The hard bit is staying there, and you do need a bit of luck. You need a manager who believes in you, and you do need them older pros because they've been through what you've been through. So if you've had a bad game, one of them older pros can just put an arm around you and just say, don't worry about it. We've all had bad games, and coming from big stars, that means a lot as a young player. I had it, and they're the players that can really help you. Like I say, getting in the team's the easy bit. Staying there for a long time, that's the hard bit.
Who was that mentor for you when you came through? Who put the arm around Ryan and told you?
I had lots. I come into a dressing room with Brian Robson, Steve Bruce, Brian McClare, Paul Ince. I had players who were, they looked like real men, and they'd been through what I'd been through, and they had the pressure of playing at Manchester United as well. So I had a lot of help along the way, which every player, you need that help.
It'd be amiss of me not to talk about Marcus Rashford, because much like you, he's United through and through. Are you surprised with how it's panned out for him? Yeah, a little bit, because I was part of the coaching staff that gave Marcus his chance, and it was just a simple, we had a few injuries. Me and Louis van Gaal walked over to the younger players, watched them train, and he just stood out. He was just banging goals in left foot, right foot, and I thought, who's this kid? And the next week he got given his chance and he took it. Yeah. And probably, I don't know, for whatever reason, he's obviously done really well so far in his career, but it's just stalled a little bit. And I think it's been well documented. It doesn't look like he's enjoying it. And I think every footballer who is going through a good time, who's going through a good phase in their career, you can see it, their enjoyment, they're expressing themselves. And for the last couple of seasons, for whatever reason, Marcus hasn't looked like that. So as a Manchester United fan then, is it painful to see him play with a smile on his face when he plays for Aston Villa, because he had an immediate impact? Yeah, it is. But, Marcus is also human. He'll be hurting as well, that maybe he hasn't been performing at his top level. And, he's been given another chance to go out and do well at a different environment, which, some players need. Marcus, much like you, left-sided forward. You were very much a winger. He was more a left centre forward, if I can say that. Do you think you'd have survive the game the way you played, or would you have to reinvent yourself to make up to the modern game? Yeah, we were very much 4-4-2, where the wingers had to get crosses in, get on the end of the back post for if David Beckham's crossing it, and then obviously help the defenders as well. Whereas now,
you see more of a 4-3-3 or three at the back. So yeah, you have to adapt. I think I was lucky enough that I played early on in my career centre forward. I played midfield. I played on the wing. So I'd like to think that I would be okay. But I do get frustrated with left footers on the right and right footers on the left, where you don't see as many old school wingers where they're beating the men and getting the crosses in. It's more cutting inside and shooting. If I was starting out now, whether I would start on the right or left, that would be the question.
And would you be happy to start on the right?
Yeah, I think so. I played a couple of times, touched on Lee Sharp before when he played on the left, and sometimes I would play on the right. So I have played there, but yeah, I was more comfortable on the left.
Let's talk about Sir Alex Ferguson. We talk about you having to evolve if you were to play in the modern game, right? Sir Alex Ferguson, probably the greatest manager football has ever seen. But he was the one man that stood for everything. Every single thing went through him. These days, though, there's different specialists for different things. There's a DOF, there's a set-piece coach, there's so many different things. Would Sir Alex have had the success he had in this day and age?
Yeah, I think he would have, because, like you say, the manager evolved from taking over the club in the mid-80s to when he left. So much changed in that period of time. So, yeah. The manager embraced sports scientists. When we were in the team at the beginning, for 10 years really, we didn't have anyone warming us up. Now probably players are going, what do you mean you didn't have anyone warming you up? No, the coach did it. Whereas now you've got sports scientists. Obviously you've got so many analysts, there's so much data that you can take from, but the manager evolved, and that was seen in his assistants. When he picked his assistant, very much they were different from the previous assistant, to give you something different and to refresh him. So yeah, 100% he would survive in this game, and I'm sure just be as successful.
What's your greatest memory with Sir Alex Ferguson?
I think probably when I first met him, because I was 13, just turning 14 when I first met him. I hadn't signed for Man United at that time, and he took so much interest and so much hard work to make sure that I did sign for Man United that you wouldn't think now the manager of the biggest club in the world, speaking to a 13-year-old, making sure that they sign for the club and showing so much interest and knowing so much about you. So he really made you feel welcome and just you wanted to play for him.
Wow. Thank you, Sir Alex. You've dabbled into management as well. We've seen you take up various managerial roles. Is that something you're looking to do in the future, or are you going to give Gary a call and join him at Sky Sports?
No, I'm very much, want to get back into management. I enjoyed my time assistant at United for 2 years under Louis van Gaal, learnt a lot. And then my time with Wales national team as well. I love that. So, yeah, I'm still young-ish. And yeah, hopefully I get a manager's job.
Fantastic. 2 more questions, and I've saved it for balance to talk about Manchester United's most immediate rivals. Let's start with Manchester City. Obviously going through a bit of a wobble for the first time under Pep Guardiola. Is it almost unsurprising, considering the success they've had for year on year, that it's hard to keep up at that level?
It is hard, yeah, because everyone else is striving to improve, and I touched on it before with individuals. The easy bit is getting there, it's staying there, it's a difficult thing. And yeah, the chasing pack are always spending money on managers, players, hoping to catch Man City. We had it at United where teams would try and catch us up. So you have to stay there, and a couple of injuries, loss of form, players coming to the end of their career. All these things can contribute to Man City not being where they've been over the last 10 years. So yeah, Liverpool, that team that have caught them at the moment, which is a nightmare for United fans, Man City and Man United and Liverpool over the last the recent years. But yeah, Pep's a quality manager, and I'm sure he'll be back.
So you suspect he's going to turn it around?
Yeah, if anyone is, then he knows the club. He's had so much success. He will know what he needs, and whether that be younger players coming in, it might be a turnover of players. We had it around 2004 where Wayne Rooney come in, Cristiano Ronaldo came in, some players left, and it took us a couple of years just to change it around, but eventually we did.
You talk about Liverpool there. How painful is it to see them do so well? And it looks likely after beating Manchester City 2-0 as well, they're going to close in on number 20. How painful is that going to be for you?
Yeah, it is painful. It is painful, but also there's a level of respect as well of what they've been doing this season, the high level that they've been playing consistently, both in the Premier League and in Europe. So sometimes you have to hold your hands up and appreciate that they are playing amazing football. But for United fan, Liverpool, as growing up, were always the main rivals. And it's difficult to see Man United not doing so well. It's even worse when you see the biggest rivals, Liverpool, doing so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you had one wish for Manchester United, because I refuse to end this interview off on Liverpool, if you had one wish for Manchester United in the next 5 years, what would it be?
I touched on it before. You have to be competing for the Premier League because that's how you'll be judged. And, if you add a Champions League or an FA Cup, that's great. But the Premier League is the one where you're the best team in England. You're competing at a high level for a long period of time. So, yeah, that's what you want. And that's what United fans will be looking from Ruben Amorim. We don't expect to win the league next year, maybe even the year after, but seeing that improvement and then, 2 or 3 years' time, making sure that we're competing for the Premier League.
Amen to that, Ryan. Thank you so much for speaking Sports Minutes. I hope you've enjoyed my company.
Yeah,
I hope you've enjoyed
Thanks.
talking about Manchester United and how well they can do going forward. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Sports Minutes on Money FM 89.3.